Hey everybody, Enra Silver here. How do you like my new blobby friend? Yeah, me and him are going to have some adventures. Not very quickly, but we're going to have fun doing it. Well, I want to welcome everybody to episode 2 of the build journal for my Resurgence of Hope base build. So today we're going to go over putting the engines inside the booster rockets as well as building the never to be sufficiently damned shuttle. Now, when I first conceived this build, I had always imagined the main booster rocket having a sort of modified APG engine in the bottom of it, with the exocraft summoning stations and all the motion just looking good. Unfortunately, as I tend to do, I got to the build site and just started building and didn't measure, so it turns out that the main body of my booster is too small to fit in exocraft summoning stations, so I had to come up with something else. So first I centered a wire in the middle of the booster rocket about 2 cylinders up, and then I glitched a floor panel onto that wire, and then 4 batteries just tucked right into the corner. This is why I use the metal floor panel to give me the pattern, to just tuck them right up in those corners so they're all equidistant from each other. Of course, everything here assigned to the scaffolding comp. Then, how do I get out? I just leave build camera. But you can also delete the door as well. Then I go ahead and start glitching light fissures onto the outer 3 connectors of each of the batteries. The inner connector on each one of the batteries I leave alone for now at least. Now that I've got 12 red light fissures glitched around the outside, I glitch 4 white light fissures to the inner connectors to kind of give the impression of a flame with its hotter inner core. Now with the outer secondary boosters, it's obvious I'm only going to have room for 1 light fissure in there. So the glories of scaffolding means I can blow out this second row of cylinders and go ahead and glitch in a row of light boxes, then glitch the cylinders back in, and those light boxes now form a surface for me to wire glitch the light fissure off of. And on the other side, I simply rinse and repeat. Back at the beginning of this video, I referred to the shuttle as the never to be sufficiently damned shuttle, and I truly meant that. This shuttle gave me more trouble than any other construct I have ever built. I spent a good 4 days working on designs for this shuttle. 4 days where I got nothing done. Where I'd log in, I'd spend hours building, and at the end of the day, I'd just reload from the save I started the day with. So here's some of the final experiments that led me to the final shuttle design. I'm not going to go through all the ways it didn't work because this video would be over an hour long. So suffice it to say that I came up with a plethora of stupid ways to make this shuttle. So here's how I built the final product. I started using total wire control to get a connection point as close to the body of the booster as I could. So I used that connection point to glitch a biodome onto, and then went around adjacencing planters into the planting spots. Then when I was finished, it didn't look the same as my practice. So I looked over at my practice and realized I had 5 light panels on my practice. There were 6 spots here. So I deleted all the planters, went back, and starting from the tip, glitched 2 planters in on either side, giving me my 5. I then went and glitched light panels onto the interconnector of each one of the planters, and then deleted the biodome and planters, leaving just the light panels. So now I've got these 5 nice merged panels, but their connection points are facing the wrong way, so I gotta rearrange them. So I put panels on the outside, put them back in, but this time I adjacency to light boxes instead of placing them. This way I can get them in there, otherwise I wouldn't be able to green state all of them back in. So once I get the light boxes put in, I go ahead and run them all down the side of the booster about as long as I want the shuttle to be. Now my plan is to go down each column of light boxes here using total wire control to place a connection point every other box. So I get started, get around the first row here, and then I decide I'm gonna actually angle the wires for the nose while I'm up here. Now, as you saw a few minutes ago, I've already been playing around with this for a while, so I knew that in order to get the angles I wanted, I needed to stack up 10 light boxes. Now, I'm snapping onto the outside connectors of the light boxes here because adjacencing onto the top of them was just not working with that wire coming up. Now, you'll also notice here I did a little whoopsie on the second light box from the left. I snapped that one onto the connector of the vertical wire, not the connector of the light box. So when I glitch onto it, it now comes in sideways. So I delete the angled wire and the light panel, and then stack boxes up from below until I get to the right level and replace the wire. Now, per my usual, you'll notice here again, I do a whoopsie. When I first run the wire, you'll notice I run it from the light box up to the top connection point. Watch what happens when I try and glitch onto it. Now that's not right at all. Why is that different from all the others? The reason is because I drug the wire from the point I was connecting to its origination spot. When blender glitching, it always has to be from the origination spot to the point you're going to glitch onto. Watch when I do it correctly, the glitch comes in right. Once I get light boxes glitched onto the end of each one of the wires, I can delete the wires and use the light boxes to lay in the wires angled correctly for my nose. So I run each box down 2 and up 3. I quickly figure out that I have to lay each wire and then delete the boxes so that others don't collide with it. Once I get those wires set, I go back to setting the wires for the body. Now, I quickly realized that light panels actually give me a connection point with the same orientation that a wire would. So I put them in to see how everything looks, and everything's looking pretty good. This is actually something that I stumbled across while I was playing around with different types of materials to make the shuttle out of. I had played around with single panels and then didn't really like them, started playing around with small floor panels and glitched one onto a point where I still had the foundation panel and realized that the foundation panel glitched in covering up the middle of the small floor panel, and it gave a pretty good look. I'm actually happy I stumbled across this and definitely think it gave a good look to the shuttle. So I played around with spacing on the body of the shuttle here for a minute, and I found out that 2 light panels in between glitch points ended up giving me a solid shuttle body. However, the panels from the foundation menu weren't connected, only the small floor panels, so I didn't get a solid stripe down the sides of the shuttle like I was wanting. However, 1 light box in between glitch points did give me that look. It did lead to extra pieces and extra glitching, but it was the look I wanted, so that's what we went with. So now that I have all the connection points set for the body and the nose of the shuttle, let's start glitching in all the small floor panels, followed by all the foundation pavers. Alright, now it's time for the last part of the shuttle, the very tip of the nose. Now this took me forever. This is really what took me days, was trying to figure out how to get the right curve for the nose of the shuttle. And I can't believe it took me that long to figure out. Just use a mushroom, moron. So there's 2 different kind of mushrooms in the foliage menu. One's a bit skinnier and longer. I like the shorter, squatter one better. I glitched it in on the connection point that I used for the biodome. That one didn't quite work. So I raised it up by 1 light box, glitched it onto this point, and now I got something that I think looks pretty good. We're gonna go with it. The wings ended up being pretty easy. I just glitched a large wedge onto each side of the shuttle, and then once that was on there, I was able to snap cubes and other large wedges onto it to finish creating the shape of the wing. Now all that was left was the engine on the shuttle. Now I wanted it to look different from the engine on the boosters, so I couldn't use light fissures. So I adjacencied from a small wall to a full wall on the bottom of the shuttle, and then put 2 batteries down, because I like the formation you get with them. Now these I wanted close enough that the connection point in between them overlapped and appeared to be just 1 connection point. I then snapped lab lamps onto each of their 6 outer connection points, and this gave the impression of the lab lamps being phased through the floor. I thought the look is a little bit better. You don't just see the obvious lab lamp sticking out, as you can see. It's phased into the floor a little bit, and then with that final interior snap point, I just glitched one last lab lamp onto it, and I like the look. We're going to go with it. So that's the end of episode 2, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you picked up something you can use. Check back in a couple days for episode 3, where we're going to go over creation of the underground fabricator and the conveyor belt leading up to the supply area. We'll talk to y'all later.